Quick introduction. My name is Faheem Moosa. I'm the host of this session, Consulting Growth Hour. I also run a company called Consulting Leap, where we work with consultants, both independents and boutique firms, to build sales and marketing systems through coaching and training in order to help grow those businesses. So Consulting Growth Hour, we try and meet up every couple of weeks. I've been doing some boot camps lately, so we've missed a couple of sessions, but we're back. We've got a couple of more sessions coming up where I'm having some guests come over and talk about certain things that can help consultants. So today's session we have Laurie O'Grady. She's the founder of Value Stack. And she's a sales systems advisor. I'll have Laurie introduce herself a little later. But what we're going to be doing today is, having Laurie share what she's built using AI and what she's doing with it, how she's engaging clients or how she's getting feedback, and what she plans to do with the tool. So you'll hear a little bit more about all of that in a bit. I can't wait to give Laurie the floor. But just before that, if I may, I'd like to give you a little bit of background as to why we're doing this and why I feel using assets like these and kind of codifying your IP is getting interesting, and it helps with differentiation and engaging with your client base and potential clients. So I've been in consulting for about 20 years. I ran my own consulting firm on strategic planning. I started it in 2009, and as a founder of a consulting firm, I have sold and executed over 200 engagements across Canada and the US, and some places in Europe. I bring that experience and knowledge into my current business, where I help consultants with building sales and marketing systems. So my perspective on IP and codifying IP comes from all of those engagements that I've done and all my time in consulting. Tell me in the chat, for those of you who resonate with this, as consultants, a business consultants or management consultants, any type of consultants that work with organizations to help performance improvement, we end up creating a lot of tools and frameworks, and we end up creating a lot of IP along the way, especially if you have different clients that have different types of needs at some point in your business. You may create a one-off workshop on something, or a facilitation session on something, or you may be trying to solve a problem for a client, and you put together some kind of a tool or framework to help them through that problem. Or you have your core methodology which you've put together. And often what happens, and this happened with me a lot, is that you create something and then you put it aside. It's lying on a shelf somewhere, or it's in a folder somewhere, and you don't look at it again, right? So a lot of I feel, when I was talking to my team about this, is that I feel that that's a non-obvious revenue leak. There are lots of obvious revenue leaks in a business. I don't want to name them. It's all you would know what they are. But a non-obvious revenue leak is one of them is having all these assets, these things that you've spent some time on, and not using them again. So from a business development perspective, I believe that you want to turn these little pieces of IP that you've created into dynamic tools that you can either use as a lead magnet to land conversations with potential clients, or you could simply use them in a new engagement or in your current engagement in order to kind of further that relationship, or that ensure that that leads to some new business. So essentially, you want to be able to use these tools and use your intellectual property. I'm going to give you some examples. Let me just share my screen. Okay, you know what? I think Varun has said that my mic is not okay. Let me just try and change this. Hang on a second. All right, I've changed the mic. Can you type in the chat and let me know if this is any better? Or you can simply unmute and just let me know if this is better or...
No, it's the same. I guess then it's something at my end.
Dave, Dave says it's similar. I don't know what it is. Hang on. Let me just try something else.
Or you can just speak a little louder, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think that that's a better fix. So I'm going to speak a little louder. Okay, Kyle says volume is okay. Ricardo says it's okay. Okay, let's just move on. I hope this is better, Varun, for you. So I'm going to share my screen and show you a few examples of where I'm at with this. Just before that, as I'm doing that, just type in the chat and let me know if you folks are already using AI to build stuff and engage clients. I know everyone's using AI, but are you building specific tools for your current clients or for prospective clients for business development purposes? Just type in the chat so we know where you're at. And if you want to share what you're doing or what you're building, just very briefly, that'll help, because as we speak with Laurie in a bit, we can kind of tailor this discussion to your situation. So just type in the chat as I'm sharing my screen. All right, so do you see my screen? You should see a ChatGPT window. It should say Consulting IP Builder. Now I'm going to show you a series of tabs on and give you some examples of what I've been working on and what Laurie's presentation today is going to be based on. So when I had this this thought that consultants have a lot of IP that's either in their heads or in a folder somewhere, I figured that why don't we create a tool that helps consultants build more tools. So that's when we came up with something called the Consulting IP Builder, and I'm going to share this in the chat with you. All of you can take it for a spin. It's free, and see if it helps you. So what the Consulting IP Builder is it's simply a custom GPT you can use on ChatGPT that simply gives you a process and guides you through how to build another tool based on your IP. So I'm going to take you through very briefly what this Consulting IP Builder will do for you. Like I said, it's going to guide you to build your own tool based on your IP. And so the way it does that is you can either build your own custom GPTs through this tool that is a full-fledged custom GPT, or if you want, you can even build a very focused custom GPT, which is not super comprehensive, but just focuses on one thing. And what it also does is it can help you build some lightweight HTML apps. I don't want to get too technical, but an HTML app is a simple app that you can use on your browser. Now I'm totally non-technical. I don't know how to code. I don't even know how to use a terminal. I've never coded anything before, but using these tools, it just becomes very easy for you to build stuff and, even create apps if you want. So let me just show you what I've built through this. And by the way, this is obviously on ChatGPT, but now, and this was built I think almost a year ago. But today I do a lot of my building on Claude because I just feel that for Claude, to me, I'm able to build. It's able to understand me a lot better, and it helps me along the way. With ChatGPT, I like building these custom GPTs, but I haven't built any other elaborate tool beyond that. But let me just share with you what I've built with Consulting IP Builder, and then I'll show you one or two apps that I've built with Claude. So with Consulting IP Builder, it's going to ask you a series of questions about your IP. If you have, a PDF file, or even if it's an Excel document which you've built that is a financial model, which is your IP, you can even upload that. And essentially what it's going to give you is it's going to guide you through what you should be building or what you want to build, either a full-fledged GPT, a single focus GPT, or an HTML app. And once you've decided that, it's going to give you a verification table like this. And this is built into the IP Builder. And it's going to help you verify what your framework does or what your methodology is. And then you can, you have the opportunity to confirm or or change the definition of whatever that is, right? So essentially, it's a very, very simple Q&A where it's going to simply ask you questions about your methodology, understand it, and then have you decide what you want to build, right? And that's it. If you want to build an app, it'll give you the download link right there, or if you want to build a GPT, it's going to give you the entire instructions of what you put into your GPT and how to create a GPT yourself. Even if you haven't done this before, it's going to help you do that. So here I've created something called the Goal Planner app. This is an HTML app, and essentially this is what it looks like. This is the basic version, right? So this is something which I help my clients plan their goals for a lead generation campaign, and there are input values here. You can put it in here, types of engagements, conversion rates across your sales funnel, how many days in a month is the campaign going to go on for, and then you have the outputs, potential revenue, what actions you need to take on a daily basis and on a weekly basis to achieve these goals. So as you can see, this is a very rudimentary, very, very simple thing. This used to be on Excel, but now we do it as an HTML app. It's just that the experience is better, and I can share it more easily. So this is a very, very rudimentary thing, but I just wanted to give you an example saying that, okay, something like this is possible. This is another GPT called Trigger Radar, and this was built using Consulting IP Builder, right? Trigger Radar is another problem that I'm trying to solve when it comes to business development. Consultants are busy; they're juggling delivery and business development, landing the next client. So making that process efficient is paramount, and so Trigger Radar is a tool that helps you identify potential companies or clients that are moving into buying mode. It identifies various triggers that start a buying motion within an organization. I don't want to get into the details. I've got some other literature on my LinkedIn and stuff that you can read about it. But what this is it took me around half an hour to build this using the Consulting IP Builder, because I had I'd already developed something along the lines of of this tool, but we used to do it manually. But now we can do it using this tool. And whenever I show this to potential clients, right, they get really excited because this is one of the problems they have. They don't know when clients or prospective clients are moving into buying mode, right? So it just makes my discovery conversations richer. It makes an introductory conversation far richer. And when I share these with prospects, I take them through an example, or I just do a live example with them with their market and domain, and it simply becomes better. Now think about your own consulting domain and think about problems that your prospects have that you can solve using these little dynamic tools and make that process more efficient and effective, right? I believe that the reason I get excited about using these is not just because they're shiny objects, is because it helps experts like us differentiate, right? We're all small businesses, right? How do you differentiate yourselves from the other consultants out there? For me, my perspective is that in order for you to differentiate, you want to really go deep into your domain. It doesn't have to be an industry vertical, but whatever your domain is, if you're like a procurement consultant, for example, you want to focus on a lot of things that companies struggle with respect to procurement, and you want to have maybe 3 or 4 core verticals or industries that you know how to help, right? And you go deeper and deeper, and you build a world view and a point of view around that. That is the strongest way to differentiate, because companies, your peers will not be able to penetrate into the level of depth that you bring to the table. And in order to supplement that perspective, if you have proprietary tools that are based off of that worldview and how you think and how you deliver a promise to your market and your customers, it becomes more powerful. You become more differentiated, because when clients want a specific result that you promise, they know that they should only work with you because you've got not only the worldview, but you've got also the structure and the tools and all of that is required in order for them to get a result in an effective and efficient way. So that's why I think that these are important, so that you can build an ecosystem around your intellectual property. Now, as I said, I don't want to take too much time because I want to give Laurie the floor. But as I said, I've been building more and more tools on Claude, and this is one of the tools that I've built. It's just a CRM, and it's based off of my way of doing sales and sales planning. You can connect this to a Google Sheet and use it as a regular app and across multiple devices. So I'm not going to sign up for all that. I just want to show you how it works. This works like a regular CRM, but it's built around my specific philosophy on business development, where you have specific contacts, and you can move them across various stages, and so on. And it also has a dashboard built based on my thinking that consultants should have, those who are starting off, especially in new business development, you want to get ensure that this becomes a habit. So this is a progress dashboard that puts you on a 30-day challenge, where it kind of gamifies your business development, where every time you do business development activity on a particular day, it just marks it so that you're able to see your streak, right? Okay, this is a sample, so it says it's just a 1-day streak. But I use these tools, this particular tool, for my boot camps. I often have these 3-day boot camps where I help people with the pipeline development and so on, and then I put them on a 30-day challenge. So that is an example of where I can use this proprietary tool against my methodology, and so it makes the experience more cohesive. It makes the experience more understandable, and it also adds a little bit of brandability and authority to the process, to my process, right? And so that all of that adds to the differentiation, right? So again, in summary, you can use these tools to engage with new prospects, or you can use these tools in your own, somewhere along the way in your sales funnel or in your existing client projects, in order to build more familiarity, in order to ensure that you're able to deliver your promise in a more effective and efficient way, and that clients keep coming back, because to get these results and to access all of these, to access your methodology and implement it the right way, they have to use your tools, right? So it's a way to create some kind of stickiness as well. So any questions so far before I pass on the floor to Laurie? Just type in the chat. And there are some comments here. I'm just going to quickly go through the chat. So Dave says not currently, he's not building anything currently. Kyle says not using it for tools, but for research and client projects. Fair. Sharam says use it for tailoring communications and blogs. So Ricardo is building robust agents with AI and backend plus data. That's great. I'm sure you're highly technical. So Kyle says you used Trigger Radar last week. That's amazing. I'm happy that you used it and you think that it has helped. All right. So yes, Sharam, I'm going to send the link to Consulting IP Builder right now. But let me just share with you a little bit about Laurie. Laurie has been coming to these sessions very often, and has been interested in all of the things that we share here. And so when I introduced the Consulting IP Builder a few months ago, she took it and she's built something of her own, which is great. I'm going to have Laurie share that, and have her walk through what she's built. I will share the tool, Sharam. So Laurie, the floor is yours. I think we'll go for about 20 minutes. Happy to have you walk through what you've built. And folks, please put your questions in the comments. In the end, we'll close the session where we can talk a little bit about how to use a tool like this to engage new clients, or however you want to use them. So Laurie, over to you.
Okay, great. And can everybody see my screen right now and hear me? Okay, so great. And I just want to make sure I can see everybody as well and move the share thing around a little bit. Okay, thank you very much. So as Faheem said, I'm a B2B sales advisor, system advisor. So I help people operate their systems, and I call that like people, process, and tools. And my ideal customers are at an inflection point where the founder is letting go of sales and has a bigger sales team, and their processes may have not been well done. I'm also HubSpot certified, although it can work with other teams, and like I said, more and more the tools plus AI tools. Okay, so for this tool, I built this tool for B2B service providers, my customers, whose sales processes are relationship driven. They have multiple stakeholders, and the sale happens over time. And the tool is called is called a buying motion. It's a buying motion discovery conversation. that helps business leaders and revenue teams define who their ideal customer is based on you recognizing the customer problems, evaluating change, and when they're ready to buy. But what makes this tool different than, like, this is a chat tool, not a like Claude skill, because what's different is the conversational flow. It acts like a consultant, and rather than just a questionnaire, and the questions will build on previous answers. So I'm going to walk you through an example that I created with the tool for a fractional accounting firm. So the first question, like, I have a conversation starter, is just start. I think people need to click something when they come into the tool. And to interpret the buying patterns correctly, I need a bit of context first. What do you offer and what problem does it solve? This is the only time it talks about you, but it needs that for the context, and you don't end up in the final report. Okay. So what was answered was, we are a fractional accounting firm. We take care of the finance operation for companies so they don't have to. Okay, next. And I have it echo back. I think because people like that in conversation. So it echoes back, oh, that usually creates an interesting buying motion, because companies often wait longer than they should before handing financial operations to a partner. What kinds of companies tend to become your best customers today? And the answer was, the user says, these are typical small to medium businesses who don't have an accounting function in-house. And that suggests trickers are often strained and they need it. So then the next question is, when these companies first start looking for you, what's usually happening inside the business that makes it feel urgent to act? And the response, the user response was, the company has increasing sales. They're doing very well, but the bookkeeping is falling behind on keeping track of everything. They don't have any financial reporting. It's not accurate because information is out of date, or it's scattered across different places. So that's classic growth outpaced operational maturity pattern. The pain shows up after success, not during survival. So who usually realizes the problem first and drives the decision to bring it in outside accounting support? So the users answered, the operation people who's saddled with doing the bookkeeping, even though they do other things. Interesting. So the operational team feels the pain first, but they're not the formal financial owner. When the decision gets made, who tends to approve or influence it most heavily? The final decision belongs with the owner because they approve budget spending. That points to a centralized buying motion with operational frustration. What tends to make the owner finally say, we need to fix this right now, instead of continuing to tolerate the situation? When the external demands for financial reporting and it's not getting done. This can be a few different pressures: tax reporting, missing deadlines, or being audited. If they're going for funding or a loan and can't explain revenue and profit, or an external advisor is looking at how things are done, the bottom line, the owner moves when they are pushed externally. What strong readiness patterns? Internal efficiency alone usually isn't enough. Okay, what kinds of companies tend to move faster and become strong long-term clients once these pressures appear? We work well with professional services companies because they value the services we provide and understand what it can take to improve things. Okay, where are these customers primarily located? Canada, I'm in Canada, US, or a mix. Our clients are in Ontario, Canada. And within these firms, what is a typical growth stage? Growth stage companies, the answer, they're making between $3 and $10 million. When prospects evaluate firms like yours, what gives them confidence to move forward quickly, hesitating or delaying? When we're able to let them see what things can look like if they use us, it's a vision of better way of working. They often, this is often case studies or references. What kind of companies tend to be poor fits? These are when there is no real buy-in from the owner. If the owner is so busy with other aspects of the business that they don't even make meetings with us, or they're focused on other fires and happy enough to let things slide. So at that point, that was the conversation. Then what comes out of it is my IP, as Faheem calls it. It's a report, and it's based on what I call is a buying motion. And it's one of the things that I'm doing differently and I'm doing a few things differently. For me, buying motion is about recognize when a qualified company moves towards engagement over the course of a deal. So a company can look really, really good on paper in terms of what people normally have as an ICP. And I extend it to also include buying motion signals and their pressures and what's happening in the company that makes the deal flow along. So the report has first, from everything that's been discussed, what ChatGPT does is it takes the items and puts it into my report format, which is like my report format. It takes that, it can infer a little bit, but I've trained it to make sure the questions are getting the main part. And often this report is like a version 1 for people. They can change it as much as they want when they take it. So I come up with a summary sentence, which is kind of like the value proposition sentence of who the company is. And then a little bit more of a verbal interpretation or summary of what we talked about. And then I have 3 sections to the report. The first section is the company profile. And I lean into, I guess this is on, I don't know if people have heard of account-based marketing. It's actually sales, but it is the idea that you're dealing with companies or accounts and you have different buyers in the account and are looking at in longer sales cycles. But the traditional, so it's not like a consumer, it's a company that I'm providing the information on. What industry? So it took professional service firms, the company size. I had said small to medium businesses, revenue range. I had said, we said 3 to 10. Market is location, like not like market is more than location, but it's not. So I say primary Ontario, Canada. People go to international markets. Ownership and structure. The growth stage, and growth can be startup, growth, scaling, established, and then the fit signals. This is like what makes this company a good fit, and what makes, and disqualifiers, what makes this company not a good fit, right? So the next part of it, which is the meat of my idea of buying motion. And first of all, it's the situation. And this some of this crosses over with the stuff that Faheem had, but this is like an overall report, right? So what's happening inside the company? Like they may be a perfect fit of all these things, but what's happening that makes you decide, recognize this is a company that is your ideal customer. So it's their buying situation. Am I going fine? Like, is everybody happy with the flow of what I'm showing? Yeah, just nod. Okay. So the buying situation, what's happening? What are some of the triggers that I recognize? Like I put in, we're saying the tax filing deadlines. The main trigger is that somebody external wants their accounting information, and how they buy. And this goes into, because I answered stuff about case studies, so they're trust driven and they need information like that. Buying committee, who are the people that are going to be involved in the buying. Some of them are recognized. This is my special spice, is because as a consultant, I don't know if people in this call feel the same way. There's the problems the customer thinks they have at the beginning, and then there's the problem as a consultant I see. But if I lead with what I see, they don't always recognize that. So part of the whole buying motion for me is, as a consultant, is I may early on talk about what they recognize, and I'm leading them to what are the back problems that I see. So this report prints out that, and some of this is from the conversation, some of it is inferred, but this is the hidden spice. And then readiness signals, like how do I know they're ready? And how do I know the deal momentum systems is how do I know the deal's moving through? Now, my report has a third section that is optional, and it's if they say anything about technology. If they don't, in the questions, I put it out. This picked up that I said that their stuff is all over the place and in spreadsheets. So it did make a comment on the current technology with this customer. But this is the main report that it comes up with. And then I don't know if you know, in ChatGPT, you can copy and put it into another document. I've been putting documents into something called MD files. I use markdown files because then in a markdown file, you can use that again in other tools. This is a report.
Laurie, can you explain to us what an MD file is?
Okay, an MD, like it's a .md, like rather than a .pdf, and it's called a markdown file, and it's really simple formatting. Like it's only really headings and bolding, very simple formatting. And I use a tool called Obsidian, a free tool to create them. You can actually download those. But what happens and why it would save you if you're going to use them for AI is that the AI tool reads them faster and easier. So where a PDF, it takes longer to read it. So I tend to I'm hinting at that I take this and I use it in AI tools as well, right? Like one of the tools I created, first of all, and the reason why yours appealed to me to do it is I have a tool that is a prospect intelligence tool. Like you put in information about someone you're talking to, and it compares it to your ICP and gives you information whether they're a fit and what to talk to them about. That needs your ICP. So this is a tool that could use it. Another example. Anyway, do you have any questions about what I've presented as my tool? It's pretty cool, isn't it?
So yes, it's really cool, Laurie. Good job. I'm curious to know, like, what was the intent behind creating this tool? Did you have this process that you did with your clients manually, or is this something new? So what was the intent behind creating the tool?
Okay, and do you want me to stop sharing while we talk? Is everybody?
You can keep it on, no problem.
Okay. Well, there was a couple of different drivers. Some of it is that's what you're saying. This is what one thing your tool did in going through this exercise did for me was it helped me formalize this framework I have around buying motion. So I was working on that and with customers, kind of loosely. So it was, because at the start of the year, I've started looking at tools that, like how my customers are using AI, because they are, and I call it like inside CRMs and outside CRMs. So like inside CRMs, it can be kind of generic and basic, right? And outside it's more elaborate. So inside a CRM, this information, like someone could take this report and update fields in the CRM with this. But in, if I'm too detailed, stop me. But the buying motion might be custom fields, or like I had created so my idea was a tool that I can use with customers, but
Okay.
also the more driving one, which is what we talked about, is what is the first step for customers that are coming to me? Like, how can I attract them initially? And what do I talk to them about? Like, so my initial ideas of this was it could be a lead magnet that I could give it to people as um, a link and capture who's doing it. I have, since I've been working with things, thinking of different things, but it's also like this sort of process, I guess this could be like since I say it's customers that are inflection point where there's someone is coming in for sales and lots in the founder's head is how do you get people in a room together and make sure they're all on the same page in terms of a customer. So I rambled a few different ideas. So it was like having lead magnets, having a first step for customers, and maybe something that's supporting a workshop or affiliate, an alignment session with people to get everybody on the same page in terms of the customer. Like that's the point, instead of and how the customer is buying from you.
Yeah, one thing that was really interesting that you mentioned is that you said that this process helped you formalize the framework that was already in your head, right? And I found that benefit as well. Like even though even though I have the framework, it's done before, but when you start doing this with this tool and you start all over again, because it interacts with you, it sort of asks you questions that trigger new ideas. So I felt that my existing framework was sharpened because I was doing this in an interactive way with AI. So that was an interesting point. And then, I'll just summarize what you said about the intent. You can use this as a lead magnet, yes. You can use this as a facilitation session where you align stakeholders. Often in organizations, you have the exco, the executive committee. These folks have different ideas, and there's value in bringing them all together for a facilitation session or alignment session, and then taking them through something like this where you run the tool, it asks you the questions, and then they get together, figure out the response, and then you put the response in. That also has a lot of value because especially if it's a strategic a topic like your ICP, where your ICP may change in an organization, but people don't kind of get together and revise it. So getting them together using something like this could be a good use of their time. And then once you've done it, you become the incumbent vendor, so to speak. And then you can say, okay, here's the next step. Here's what we can do. And then you can talk about your sales sales systems. And
yeah, like what do we do with this?
Yeah, what do you do with it?
It's the next thing that they pay for me. Another take on it too, Faheem, from what you're saying is, as a consultant, I could have a session where I ask all the same questions, and like that's what you're saying is I'm putting into a GPT something, I'm having it act as a consultant. I'm the consultant it's acting as, right? But the benefit of using an AI tool, it's a little extra, I guess, added spice for now, but it's also that if I did that with a customer, I'd probably have to go away and create the report. I'd probably be taking tons of notes.
Yes.
And so it can make that kind of first session with people faster and more efficient for me as well.
You know, it's interesting because one of my other clients, he runs a strategy consulting firm, and he had a workshop process for market sizing, just finding out the sizes of various segments that a department or a business unit targets. So that entire engagement was about 90 days, where they would have a series of workshops, then they would go back, do the analysis, size the market, and then come back and then have follow-on sessions. So now using a facilitation session through a GPT like this, this client didn't use the consulting IP builder. They built it themselves before using somebody else's help. But still, the process was that 90-day process was brought down to 3 days. So you see, so they were able to kind of, make a compact version of that engagement, and then simply use this as a more as an easier discovery offering, where they would, they would get their foot in the door easier than they would with a 90-day offering. So that way, it's really beneficial as well. Of course, you got to be careful because these tools, they hallucinate. No matter whatever guardrails you put in there, these things will hallucinate. So you got to kind of temper the audience by saying that, look, these are simple. These are just direction. This is directional information for conversation, and just to kind of see what comes up and get your first outputs. But we'll have to cover. There's obviously has to be a process where you kind of clean the data and you verify and so on and so forth.
Yeah, like the thing is, the working session. Like I'm in the process of making this a tool I use more too. But I'm envisioning in the working session, even though it spits out at the end, it would be something then you walk through more detail with the session. And then another note too, like since everybody's talking about Claude, your IP tool helped me create an instruction set for a chat GPT, which is a nice package for it.
Yeah.
But those instructions, the old Unix term was port. When you port to different things, I took it and had Claude look at it, but inside Claude, it has to be a project.
A project, yes.
And it's a prompt. It's a big prompt. So it's, but it can be, with some of the tools I'm doing, I'm also trying to, and that comes from my old background in development and stuff. I'm also trying to make versions that are gems.
Okay.
Like just, so that I can be flexible to what customers.
So gems are.
Are you?
Gems
Gemini.
They're GPTs that are in the Gemini ecosystem, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But with each of them, you have to test it because the flavor is different. But one thing I really found that's helpful, I think you did too, is you're using the AI to help you build something, so you don't need to be perfect on building. Like you get it to.
It just tells you what to do next. Like it's just so simple. I think this is the only technology that's been created that just tells you how to use it, right? Varun, you've got a question. Yeah, please unmute and fire away.
Hey, hi. So, hi, thanks, Laurie. That was helpful. So my question is actually a very basic one. Now, in the last few weeks, what I have noticed is that my clients or my prospects, whenever I'm talking to them, they don't see AI in a very respectable light. Whenever you show anything to do with ChatGPT or anything to show with AI, I mean, it's for them it's not a very high value thing. So how do you in your experience, how have you been handling this, that the clients don't discount your IP or your knowledge just because you have an AI layer on them? Am I making myself clear?
Well, what business are you in, Varun?
So Similar to so basically I work as a fractional CMO, so I have a lot of marketing engagements going on. But nowadays I'm also starting to do something what you do, which is working with marketing consultants, helping them get their offers and everything in place. And we were also building some tools, we were also building these things. But I mean, lately whenever I'm showing these tools, I mean, the comment comes, oh, this is AI. So it's not a very positive tone with which it is spoken. So
Sure.
have you faced the same, or am I is this something unique to me?
So can you give us an example of, like what kind of tool or
Yeah.
process did you show?
So for example, there was so with one consultant we were working with, developing so they develop pitches, as in pitch decks for startups that raise funds. And we were trying to, because I also have been doing it for some time. So using whatever knowledge we had gained, we developed a tool for them, which through GPT, it used to give a very beautifully formatted, nice sectioned and properly structured report for them on 13 or 14 points, on which the pitch deck was audited, and it gave an audit report. Now the report itself, when I used to present it myself to clients, just the report, not the tool. The report used to get a very enthusiastic reception. But when I started showing the tool was not very much appreciated.
Okay. Laurie, do you have a comment on that?
Well, I think that some of it too is I think there's a lot of different people in the out there. Like like a lot of people have different opinions, and AI is moving so fast, and there's some people that are resistant to it. And like I said, I had one client that I got some advice, and she was saying, "Oh, this is a tool for you, not a tool for me." And I think you need to know your clients, right? And know when you're showing them a tool or not showing them a tool. And some of them will love the tools and some of them won't. But I think it also goes into how the tool you build, because like another core file I have is my brand voice and instructions. So if the tool is just pumping out generic AI stuff, people now can see that. But if it's actually a little more, I guess I should share it, like the answers are a little more thoughtful, right? Or a little more um, um, language. Like I use this ICP tool plus my brand voice to create LinkedIn posts, and they sound like me. They don't sound like AI. And I think that is the difference. Because I see someone smiling at that. Yeah, because I'm trained it on doing that. So if you have people that are objecting, don't show them your tools. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
For me, Varun, like Laurie said, I have some clients, and I work with some other larger consulting firms on and helping them build sales and marketing systems. So some of those firms, some of those founders, whenever I create tools for them or my team creates for them, and it solves a big problem, they absolutely love it. And some of those companies, some of those founders are fully into AI right now, so they get it. There's another a client that I used to have. She absolutely detested AI. She was, pretty old school. She was very good at what she did, but she hated it. So I think it may be a case of, just person to person. But what I find overall is that if you're able to make the business case of why using AI is beneficial, both qualitatively and quantitatively, just make that business case to them. Then perhaps they would understand it better. So perhaps maybe not knowing too much about your situation, maybe try to make them see it in a different way as to what problems it solves and why this is a better and more efficient process. Does that help?
Okay. We
Um,
have some, there's a question in the chat.
Yeah, so I think
Are
we
we
have a
done with
couple of
that?
minutes.
Yeah.
I think Varun is still muted. We have a couple of minutes. Why don't we close with Shahram? Just before that, if you want a replay of this session, just go to the Consulting Growth Hub group. If you're not part of it yet, just join. It's I've added the link in the chat. You get all the replays, not only of this session, but all the other sessions, 70 plus sessions that we've done so far, and you have a bunch of other consultants that you can network with. So Consulting Growth Hub, the link is in the comments in the chat. So let's close with some observations from Shahram.
Okay, Varun, I think you kind of said it yourself when you are directly working with your prospect. They are very receptive of what you deliver, but as soon as they learn about the AI part of it, they kind of get discouraged. And I think some people have a like of AI, some people may have a dislike. If you demonstrate for them first and then tell them, would you like to know how I do it? At that point, if the answer is yes, then they would probably be more receptive to see what your steps are to use the AI. Nobody wants to learn a new tool. That's people, they have a hesitation of learning new tool, and some people, they don't even trust the AI. So you kind of have to walk through them once, and once they see the result, then you tell them, okay, would you like to know how I do it? There is a few easier steps to do this. This is how I do it. And then at that point, they may be more receptive to what you have to offer them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I
Right.
guess because I'm a systems person, part of my ICP is that people are open to it. It doesn't mean I don't talk to people that aren't, but if there's too much hesitation, it can, for me, it can be a disqualifier, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, these are all, of course, these are new technologies. People are resistant to it, but then there are early adopters as well. So I know that in a lot of large companies too, there's so much AI investments that have been made, and many of these companies say that they're not seeing ROI yet. But I think that will change because there is a real business case, and of course, as AI becomes more and more prevalent, people will it will just become the normal way of doing business. But on that note, thank you so much, Laurie, and all of you for attending. Laurie, that was a very good presentation. Good on you for creating a tool and creating an asset that you can use to both engage with new prospects and your current clients. Again, Consulting Growth Hub, go ahead and join it if you haven't already. Get the replay and the ones for the previous sessions as well. Okay, have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you in the next session.